Hello and welcome to tonight's On the Sofa. Hope you've all had a good weekend. So tonight we've got a bit of a different aspect. So first of all, we've got Annie Coulson from the women's team after their 4-1 win over Maidenhead yesterday. And Annie this is going to be a special occasion for Annie. And then we have Carla, who is from the Barnet Supporters Club. So we're just going to have a chat about tomorrow's game and how their season's going and how she hopes it will go. So I'm going to bring Vic on and we will do some housekeeping.
Hi, Chris. How are you?
Good evening. I'm good. How are you?
I'm all right. Thanks very much indeed. The weather needs to cheer up, but it's fine. Yes, good weekend, and we'll get to all that a little bit later on. You've got some exciting news in a minute about the Junior Reds packs. I've got some news of SAS travel, and this is regarding the Crewe game, which is in a couple of weeks' time. Crewe is full, but they're still taking a reserve list until Thursday. But it's looking unlikely at the moment there'll be a second bus unless you want to get in touch very quickly. Until Thursday, please. Barrow, they still have a few spaces available for Barrow. Now, due to personal commitments, they'll take them off sale on Wednesday, August the 27th. So you've got until then. Any bookings will need to be made by then. And departs Swindon, West Swindon at 6:30 a.m. Nigel Eady County Ground at 7 a.m. Members £39, non-members are £41. So a lot of early starts, it seems to me, Chris, at the minute. I haven't quite got over the 4:30 departure on Saturday, and then we've got another one in a couple of weeks' time to Crewe, haven't we? So a lot of early starts. Thanks very much indeed to a certain television company.
Well, it's nice to get them out of the way when the weather's not bad, isn't it? So that you haven't got it on a February morning.
That's the positive way of looking at it. Well done.
Okay, so all you Junior Reds parents, so that is anybody that has a Junior Reds season ticket under 11s. Your Junior Reds packs will be available tomorrow night from the Junior Reds room between 6 and 6:30. So if you pop down there, you can pick up your pack. There will be a list of names, or if you have your season ticket with you, bring that as identification. And also on Saturday between 1 and 1:30 from the Junior Reds room. Then after, if they will be available from reception between 8 and 4 Monday to Friday. So that's tomorrow between 6 and 6:30 from the Junior Reds room, Saturday from 1 to 1:30, and then after from reception, 8 till 4 weekdays. Okay, so we love them. They're exciting, and hopefully the children will as well. So there you go. Right, shall we bring on Annie and Richard, because I believe Richard's with us as well. So
yeah, I should say I've seen pictures of those packs and they look absolutely fantastic. So well done to everybody putting them together. And there's a picture of Peter Noble in our entry just now because it's it would have been his birthday tomorrow. And anybody who saw Peter Noble play will know what just a wonderful player he was. Part of our 68-69 League Cup and promotion winning team and the Anglo-Italian Cup winning team as well. So we remember the great Peter Noble.
We do. Right, let's bring Annie and Richard on. There's Annie.
Hi, Annie.
Hello.
Hiya.
Richard.
Evening, Richard.
Hello. Hello. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can indeed. Yes.
My phone's ringing, so I will speak to you later.
Okay. Right. Well, first off, Annie, we must say congratulations because a huge milestone for you. 100 goals. It's a magnificent achievement. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, it's amazing. It's great. I think I reached 50 about a season and a half ago. So then to reach 100, yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, when you first, I mean, you've been at Swindon since 21, I think, haven't you? You had several other clubs before that, of course. But what makes Swindon so special for you?
It's just such like a family club. I think when I came here, it was my first proper season back into football after having my daughter. So I was very nervous, wasn't sure sort of the level I could play at, but immediately coming to Swindon, I was made to feel at home. It's a lovely place to play on the pitch as well, especially. It's really special. But yeah, it's amazing.
When you were playing yesterday, great 4-1 win, by the way. Did that enter your head, the fact that you'd scored your 100th goal? Did that actually hit you at the time?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I'd been thinking about it before the game. I'd spoken to a couple of people about potentially, scoring my 100th goal, and we sort of said try and get it early, just get it out of the way so I'm not focused on it. And yeah, I think it was like a minute and a half into the game I scored it. So after that, I was just like, I can settle down now. I can just relax and play the game.
Yeah, conversely, Elise Clayton, I think, got her first league goal for the club yesterday.
Yeah,
so that's a nice kind of bookend, really, in that, isn't it?
Yeah. Elise is amazing. Yeah, she's a great talent. So, and she deserved the goal as well. And we're also proud of her.
And Izzy Cook with the other one. I mean, Richard, to have a player like Annie around must be extraordinary. Just say what you think about her as a player. Embarrass her if you want to. But, it's an incredible achievement, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the longevity to get 100 goals. And also she's, fairly recently got 100 appearances as well. Combination of both those things. I mean, obviously, being a good player for a short period is one thing, but to be able to do it over a longer period of time is an entirely different thing. Also, just Annie's a captain, and she goes about that in a way, in as much as she's scored 100 goals, but if anybody else scores, she's the first one there to celebrate with them and be pleased for them. So she's not a selfish player in any way whatsoever, and she's definitely one of the best players in the league. And so I think, as within any team, you need to have a goal threat, and you can be a good team, but if you're not able to score goals, then it can amount to nothing. And Annie's a player that would be coveted by all of our competitors, and she regularly gets approaches from teams from the league above, and the fact that she wants to achieve things with ourselves, with this group, and with this club, obviously makes it really special.
Embarrassed enough yet, Annie, or do you want us to go on there?
No, that's fine, thank you.
I mean, goal scorers are notoriously greedy. Richard's just sort of hinted that you're very much about the team. But, I mean, how focused are you getting the ball in the back of the net? That's your main reason for playing, isn't it?
Well, yeah, it's kind of my job, isn't it, as a striker to score. But, I love other people scoring just as much as myself. So if there's a better opportunity for them, then I wouldn't hesitate to pass them the ball. It's a team sport, isn't it? So we just want to win every game. And if that means that I get an assist or I don't, or I score and I don't, then we're just happy to win.
I think if you look at pre-season, there was some talk about the fact that Annie hadn't scored was one of the questions that I got. But in the game previous to that against Boldmere, she'd got 2 assists. So I don't really worry about where the goals come from, but they're more than likely going to come from Annie.
What about the county ground then, Annie? How I think all your league games are there this season, aren't they? So how much of a boost for you is it playing there?
Yeah, it's amazing. The first time I played there, it was so special. I kind of takes your breath away. It's just an amazing place to play, and it still feels like that now. Walking out there on Sunday, it's like goosebumps. It's surreal. But yeah, I absolutely love it, and I scored my 50th goal there. So to get my 100th goal there as well, it's quite a nice thing to do. But yeah, it's an amazing place to play, and I walked out with my daughter as well on Sunday. She was my little mascot, and it's special for that reason too.
Oh, that's a nice touch. I mean, Richard, that pitch, Matt Povey, we paid tribute to him and his team. I mean, that pitch looks magnificent. That's bound to help playing football, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, just even as a coach to go out there during warm-up and kick a ball on that pitch it's a lovely thing to do. And the girls, during our initial sort of technical passing pattern, the comments there's just no excuse for a bad touch. So it's and it's the whole atmosphere that generates to see a stage that's so beautifully set. That creates in itself an atmosphere and a desire to want to go and do it justice, really.
Yeah, when I'm doing the pitch side interviews, I'd love to get on there and have a kick about, but I don't think I'd better do that somehow. I don't think Matt would enjoy that. A 4-1 win then, Annie. Obviously, that's a great way to start, isn't it? What are the ambitions, would you say?
I think we're going to take it game by game this season, week by week.
Hang on, I'll just write that down in the book of cliches. Hang on.
I learned that one from it. But no, of course we want to do as well as possible. We want to win every game. We have high ambitions this season, and I think we just want to keep pushing in the right direction, supporting each other, working well as a team, and seeing how far we can go all together.
Well, Sean's messaging, he says, well done, Annie. And he said, what clubs are favourites for your league this season? You've added well, so I'm guessing you're expected to be up there come the end of the season. I'll ask you first, Annie, then I'll put the pressure on the coach. Who do you think might be the main rivals then?
I think based off last season, I think Moneyfields are going to be up there. They obviously came second last season. I think they're probably going to be one of the main competitors for us this season. What
about you, Richard?
Well, exactly what Annie said. I think Moneyfields have improved season on season. Finished third, then second, and Bristol Rovers have recruited very well during pre-season. So they finished fourth, so they'll be strong. And then there's usually within most leagues there's a surprise, isn't there? Somebody that does better than expected. So yeah, but we should be there or thereabouts. I would say I would like to think that we've got the best squad in the league, I would say.
Well, high praise indeed there, Annie. That's not bad, is it? I think you're back in action. Is it Wednesday you're in action again against Bristol City, is that right? But that's at the Webswood, which is equally a decent stadium to play at, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a very nice stadium. I think I've only played there once before. But yeah, again, the pitch is like carpet. It's very nice.
So Bristol City, Richard, and what do you know about them?
We don't know a great deal. I mean, that's the thing at the early part of the season, even with teams within our league, footage is, we don't have footage and teams change. And the unusual thing about playing Bristol City is it's their under-21s, it's their PGA. So we don't usually play them. It'll be the first time that we've played them. So we don't have any history, but we know that there'll be good technical young players. That of a really good technical ability, and they'll be at within Bristol City's academy for a reason. We have a number of players ourselves that have come out of that system, so they'll be quite fired up to show what they can do. Annie's one of them. Was within their academy. We've got Libby Whalen, who is within their academy. We've got Tyra, who is within their academy. So there are a number of players of our own that have come through that system. So it'll be interesting.
And your next league game, who's that and where is it?
Our next league game is away to Abingdon United.
Oh, a local derby just up the road then, not too far away.
Yeah.
Annie, congratulations once again. A fantastic achievement, and 100 goals is pretty good marker, I would say, for a striker. How many more? You got till 2026, I think, haven't you? So,
Yeah, I don't know. Hopefully a couple. Yeah.
Yeah, but 2026, you're looking further ahead. Sorry, Richard, go on.
I said give it a number, Annie, for this season.
I don't know. We haven't sat down and spoke about where I'm aiming this season, so I'll wait for that chat.
Fair enough. And actually, a question's been asked: why is it a Super Marine thought all home games at the county ground? That's league games, I think, isn't it, Richard? At the county
yes, that's
ground?
right. Yeah. All of our league games at the county ground.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you very much, both of you. And again, congratulations, Annie. It's something you must be immensely proud of. And Richard, I guess as a club, you're proud of it as well, aren't you?
Absolutely, yeah. To like I said, to have a player of Annie's calibre, and I've said it before. You know, as the women's section gets more and more established, sort of within the club, Annie will go down as a great. You know, she really will. She's already on that 100 board within the corridors, and yeah, she'll go down as one of the great women's players. So yeah, it's a fantastic achievement. She's still got plenty left to go. But yeah, I think we're all really proud of her.
Yeah, absolutely right. And you've gone redder and redder, Annie. So I think it's time to let you go now.
Ready to go now.
Brilliant. Thank you, Annie. Thank you, Richard,
Thank
very much
you.
indeed.
Thank you. Thanks for having
See you
us on.
tomorrow, if that's right, Annie. That'd be great.
Yeah,
Thank you very
yeah.
much.
See you tomorrow.
Yeah,
Thank
lovely. Thanks
you.
very much, both.
See you
Thank
later.
you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Brilliant. So
There you go.
okay,
That's
fantastic.
it. Lovely.
So that was good. Yeah, there was over 400 people there yesterday, so it was good. So
Yeah,
if anybody
great attendance.
can get down to a home game, please do. It is exciting, and it was nice seeing sort of Annie at one end of the spectrum and then Elise at the other end making her debut. So and her first goal, so it was great. So right, let's bring Carla on. Hi, Carla.
Hi, you all right?
We'll wait for the
Yes,
spinning white
all
circle.
good.
There we are. Hiya, Carla. Hi.
How are you?
So we're all good. So what's your position in
Right.
the supporters club, Carla?
Excellent.
Sorry, what was that?
Sorry, I think we're both talking at the same time.
All right.
So what's your position in the supporters club?
So yeah, we've got a little committee of our supporters association we reformed a couple of years ago. So I'm part of that committee. So yeah, just kind of being a bit of a link between the club and the supporters.
Fantastic. Right,
Yes.
over to you, Vic.
Thank you very much indeed, Chris. Yeah, Carla, welcome along. It's great to have somebody with a different perspective on things. Do I mention the start of your season or not? What do you think? I mean, it's not been great, has it? But, you know, promotion last season. No, promotion last season, finding your feet. How would you describe the first 3 matches?
I think it's what you're saying. It's finding your feet. I mean, as much as I do think the top of the National League and the bottom of League Two isn't far apart in quality, I think there's always going to be that step up, and it's probably more we found it from a physical perspective. I think last season we're a very nice team to watch, very good on the ball, a lot of passing, but there's not a lot of height, there's not a lot of like big players to get stuck in, and I think that's probably the biggest thing I've noticed is the difference in kind of toughness of the league. It definitely hasn't been the start we would have wanted. But I do think there's positives. I don't think it's a complete panic. I just think, as you say, it is that step up. It is something new. Dean Brennan's never managed at this level before. Some of the players haven't played at this level before. So it's kind of about finding our feet and kind of using the best of last season, but also adapting and learning what we need in this league to do well as well.
Like us, you lost 2-1 to Walsall at the weekend. We lost on the opening day to Walsall 2-1. If I might mention one name, Namdi Offerbor, who was sent off for 2 yellows. What was your view of that?
Yeah, it was a sending off. It's a tackle that when you're on a yellow, you can't do it. He knew straight away. He walked off straight away. He knew it. But I think he felt he was taking one for the team. It was a situation where I've watched it back, and in hindsight, Tavares probably had it covered, and the Walsall player wouldn't have gone on to score. But in that split second, obviously, he thought this is going to result in a goal. I'm going to take one for the team. And I mean, Dean Brennan shook his hand on his way off, and I think that's the kind of feeling. In hindsight, probably didn't need to do it. But at the time, split second, he thought he was doing the best for the team. And yeah, he knew it was a sending off. But I was saying maybe he just didn't want to come back and play against you. So maybe that's it.
Well, it'd be a nice thing to think he didn't want to play against us because he was a very popular player. I think people really liked him, and a lot were disappointed that he went. You mentioned Dean Brennan. Of course, he was linked with the Swindon job the previous summer, wasn't he?
Yes, yeah. Since, I mean, we got him from Willstone, obviously came in initially as director of football above Harry Kewell. Harry Kewell's time as manager did not go to plan, and then Dean Brennan kind of took the role on from there. And I mean, since he's taken over, we have improved massively and gone from strength to strength. And we've had to build over a number of seasons to get to where we were last season. So he has done a really good job, and I don't think it's a surprise that he's been linked with other jobs. But then I also think, us kind of our start to the season, possibly, he is inexperienced in this league as well, and possibly he will take that time to adapt as a manager as well. But I'm sure if we do steady ourselves and then kind of keep going, I'm sure you won't be the last team to be linked with a move for him.
Sean says it's okay, Carla. If you get enough set pieces tomorrow, you'll be fine. We have a problem with the set pieces, but we'll see. I mean, you are a footballing team.
We conceded from a set piece as well at the weekend, so I don't think they're our strength either.
Oh, fair enough. But you are a footballing team, aren't you? You like to play the ball on the floor.
Yeah. I think last season that was pretty much us under like the flair we played with. We've got some really good players, some good speed going forward. Like exciting. We're confident. But obviously that's probably been knocked a bit. But I do think there probably is an element of now we're in League Two, we have to be able to kind of adapt and play different ways. And we did have a bit of that at the weekend. We've signed Ollie Hawkins, who is a massive striker. He's like 6 foot something, really big in the box. And actually we used him at the weekend, got a ball in, he headed it in. And I think it's about finding that balance between, we can play some nice football and we can really upset defences when we do play well, but we also have to be prepared for, our number 10, Callum Stead, skinny guy, small guy, if there's a big defender on him and he's constantly getting out-muscled, we have to figure out other ways to play it as well. And I think probably defensively as well, we've noticed that as much as we could pass it around and have a bit of time last season, you will get punished for that in League Two.
What was last season like? Because it was a record-breaking season, wasn't it, for Barnet? What was it like as a fan? Because you've had a sort of an up and down history, really, quite literally. League, non-league, league, non-league. It's not exactly. I mean, it's a bit like a Swindon fan, really. It's not exactly a smooth trip, is it? But that's part of being a fan, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I think when we first got relegated, which was back in 2018, no one thought we would be in the National League for as long as we were. And I know, obviously, during that time we had COVID, and obviously that kind of threw everything off. So it has been a long time coming, it felt like. But like you say, it was a record-breaking season. We got 102 points. But I think you ask, most fans, whether my age or older, it's one of our, if not the best season we've all had following the club. And I think not just from a perspective of watching us winning most weeks and we went unbeaten at home, but also, our manager loves to use the word togetherness, but genuinely, you know what it's like at kind of lower down the chain in football. You get to know the players, they come in the bar, you kind of make those relationships. And because everything was going so well, they were really integrated with the fans. And obviously then the fans went and pushed them on even further. So I think it was just a really nice season for everyone. And I think within that, it's almost going to make that step up a bit harder, because you have some people, our attendances did grow a bit towards the end of last season. I think you've got some people who come along and they expect this great Barnet team, whereas my childhood was watching us in League Two being pretty rubbish. So I'm kind of like, for me, we're back to normality now. So it was nice to have that bit of fun, but this is what I'm used to. So I do think that puts a bit of more pressure on the players while making the step up.
And you're happily settled at the Beehive, or is it talk of new grounds? What's happening?
Yeah, so we're actually trying to bring Barnet back. We've got, basically we're at the Hive, not in Barnet, we're in Edgware, and it definitely has affected our crowds, but also it's not our home. We're making the best of it. Like, our people, we're going every game, we're not boycotting because it wasn't necessarily our choice to leave Underhill, but our chairman's kind of put plans in to build on the back of where Underhill was, build a new stadium for us there, fully funded. We had the council
kind of went through the planning application. They rejected it, but there's all back and forth. I'm sure you know what council politics is like, but we're hoping to appeal that decision, and hopefully at some point in the future we might be on our way back to Underhill, which I think would be a massive boost for us both on and off the pitch.
Daz has just messaged me. He says last time you played us at the Nigel Eady County Ground, Swindon Town versus Barnet, 2nd of September 2017, you won 4-1. Luke Norris scored for the Town. Were you there?
Yeah, I actually turned down, this is true, my parents went to San Francisco and said, would you like to come? And I said, I really want to go to Swindon away. So I turned down the holiday to San Francisco, and I've never regretted the decision because that game was incredible.
That's magnificent. If I might say so, that is what being a football fan is all about. San Francisco or Swindon. Yeah, Swindon every time, of course. Well done. That's brilliant. Well done. Obviously, you're with the official supporters club. I was going to say work. That means you get paid, but obviously that's a different thing altogether. What's that like? What's the relationship like with the football club?
It's pretty good. As I say, we had for years there was no association for whatever reason before I was involved. But in the past, that kind of disintegrated, and a few of us were like, do you know what? I think we need to build up. And it was kind of came after COVID, and obviously we had a very tough time during COVID. Luckily, there was no relegation. Otherwise, we would have ended up in National League South, which, I mean, I will preface by saying our chairman knew there was going to be no relegation. He took a risk and it paid off. But after that, it was certainly a sense of we really need to build something on and off the pitch together here. So I think there's about 6, 7, 8 of us on the committee. And yeah, we all get on really well, and we've got a good line of communication with the club. Obviously, as you probably know, over summer it goes a bit quiet, especially while they're trying to organise for life in League Two, and we're all actually enjoying our time off. But yeah, now the season's back underway, we're looking forward to having meetings with them again, and kind of hoping that, you know, if we can improve the matchday experience and make people happy off the pitch, then even when we're not winning every week, which I don't think we're going to be doing in League Two, but if people are happy off the pitch and there's that good communication with the club, then I think it will make it a lot nicer, just mood-wise, even when you're not winning.
Well, we wish you well for the remainder of the season. Obviously, you'll understand not tomorrow night, but I hope you enjoy your trip to Swindon, not as much as you did the last one, clearly.
Yeah, it is a high bar.
It is. But we'll be lucky to meet up with you tomorrow night. That'd be really nice to see you. So there you are, Chris. I think what Carla was talking about resonates with a lot of us, doesn't it? So,
it certainly does. Yeah, it certainly does. So
it's great to get a different perspective. So thank you very much indeed, Carla. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
And this is the first one we've done, Carla. We've reached out to the opposition to come on and have a chat. So thank you very much for putting the bar quite high with that for the rest of the season. But we look forward to seeing you tomorrow, Carla. So take care and good trip down, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye. So there you go. Nice to talk to Carla, wasn't it? And a long-standing Barnet fan by the sound of it, and has been through it and come out the other side, which is always great, isn't it?
Exactly, and it's where we are with the lower leagues, isn't it? It's the supporters club need to be there to have that link, but yes. So right on to last weekend. So we have got Rob and Andrew both here. So we will chat to them about Saturday, and I will leave you. I'll see you later.
Thank you, Chris. Before we sort of start, I thought I'd bring this to your attention. You might well have bought this if you went to Oldham on Saturday, but it's a magnificent little thing. What they did was they gave you a little they didn't give you had to buy it, but presentation box. But inside was a badge with Oldham Athletic and Swindon Town on it, and the date of the game and everything. What a tremendous little thing that is. I really think that's really well produced. Gentlemen, good evening to you. Rob, Andrew, how are we? We all right, Rob? We got over?
Yeah, all good. Thank you.
And you, Mr. Hawes, you got over the trip?
Yep, all good. All good. The badge is rather nice. I rather like that.
It is. It's fantastic.
Is it match specific?
Yeah, lovely little box. I think that's terrific. Right, Oldham 1, Swindon Town 2. Joe Quigley on 34 minutes for Oldham, but Joe Snowden in his hometown on 4 and Tom Nichols on 19. The attendance 6,955. The assist Tom Condon for Oldham and Joe Snowden on 19 minutes for Tom Nichols' goal. I mean, let's talk about the opening 25-35 minutes, Rob. They were fabulous, weren't they?
It was, yeah, absolutely. It was what we've been looking for from that Ian Holloway side that we've not really seen yet this season, was domination of the ball, press the opposition high up the pitch so that you get the ball back in the final third or certainly in their half, and then show some ability within the squad, which we know those forward attacking players have got. And I thought we were terrific for half an hour. I think we'll get on to the last hour and then afterwards. But no, that first half an hour was certainly the best half an hour of football we've seen so far from Swindon this season.
I must admit, Mr. Hawes, it sort of reminded me, if you cast your mind back to Leyton Orient and the first 45 minutes under Richie Wellens, when we were absolutely all over Leyton Orient in the days of that championship winning team, it kind of reminded me of that. It was almost the perfect away performance for 30 minutes or so.
Yeah, no, it was so dominant, and that really was the thing that sort of Rob picked up on there. Every time Oldham were sort of clearing it in and out their own box, Swindon were on it first. It just kind of kept the pressure, kept the ball recycling, and eventually they couldn't handle it. And you saw the 2 goals and the move for the second goal, which apparently is a kind of training ground thing, or that's a little sort of set of things they practice was terrific as well. So. That I think essentially that first sort of 30 really won them the game ultimately, didn't it? But it was definitely the sort of closest we've seen to the kind of way Ian Holloway's really striving to get them to play, I think.
Yeah, it's terrific stuff. In terms of possession, it was Oldham 53.6%, Swindon 46.4%. But as we say every week, the only stat that matters is the one of the scoreline. Shots, I was surprised about this. Oldham 13, Swindon 13. On target, Oldham 5, Swindon 3. Well, 2 counted, Rob. That's really all that matters, isn't it?
We say this all the time, don't we? I mean, it's the final score that matters, nothing else. But statistics can give you an idea of the feel for the game. And to be honest, I think we touch on the second 30 minutes and the last 30 minutes. Oldham came into the game because we let them. Those pesky set pieces that you talked about earlier on with Carla came back to bite us on the backside yet again with that great header, has to be said, but really poor free kick to give away. I think he's going absolutely nowhere by the corner flag. It's debatable whether he's actually had a touch or not, or he's gone over on his own. But the bottom line is don't get too close and you don't give away the free kick. It's as simple as that. So then when you set up to try and defend these set pieces, sometimes they're going to be perfectly put into your penalty area and it's on somebody's head. And that's exactly what happened. But they did have to show some real dogged resistance in that second half. And that, I suppose, in the cold light of day, because at no point did any of us feel confident we were going to hang on, I don't think, because we were taking a bit of a battering in that second period. But they did dig in. They really did dig deep. There were a couple of injuries in there that didn't help us either. Obviously, we needed to use what we had on the bench to try and make things a little bit more secure. And of course, Harry Smith's big miss towards the back end, you always hope is not going to be costly. He made up for it by going back to centre-back and then heading absolutely everything away from then onwards. So we'll forgive him that one, I think. But yeah, it was a real backs to the wall second half, and it wasn't pretty. But some of those types of performances really do stand you in good stead for the rest of the season, don't they? And let's hope those back to the wall moments come back to them sometime during the rest of the season, and it becomes really important.
Yeah, a terrific last-ditch defending at times. In goal was Ripley across the back right, ball Wilson Brown, a yellow for Wright on 90+2. Babette came on for Wilson Brown on 61 minutes. Snowden, Nichols, Oldacre and Munro with the 4. Munro, who won, I think, by a street on the bus. No question about that. Bowden came on 75 minutes for Snowden. There was a yellow for Nichols on 23. Glatzel came on for him on 75. Drinnan, he was replaced by Butterworth on 82, who nearly made a huge contribution. And Smith and Etchebecheman, for whom McGregor came on 75 minutes. Did I get that right, Andrew?
I think he's said it, and I've tried to get it, so it's kind of stuck deep in my memory. So I try and stick with Ehibachaman is the closest. It's the closest we've got so far. At least I've progressed to being consistently wrong if I'm wrong. But
that's fair enough. So I need to make it Ehibachaman rather than Echibachaman. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, I'll bring my Welsh heritage into it and then do a bit of that. Llanelli, I'll do that a bit. It left Swindon 6th in the table, which is meaningless at this time of the season, but nice to be there. Played 3, won 2, lost 1, 0.6, goal difference +1. Again, goal difference being plus, that's nice. 22nd at Barnet, played 3, 1-0, lost 3. Points 0, goal difference -5. Now here's a question for Dewey says fantastic first 20 minutes of the game. I don't think anybody disagrees with that. Tony says, do you think Harry will play centre back tomorrow night because of injuries, Rob?
No, I don't. But I think he might be back there towards the back end if suddenly we get a little bit of a bombardment. Carla mentioned Ollie Hawkins in that side, and he's caused us problems aerially before when he's in his previous clubs. So that will be a difficult one, but no, I think we will stick with Mabete as a centre back for tomorrow night. I think, and Smith will start up front, but no guarantees he stays there for the 90.
What are your thoughts, Andrew? You went to the news conference, I assume, today. What are your thoughts on the formation?
I think,
bearing in mind all the injuries that he mentioned.
I think if he could, he'd stick with 3 at the back, but there's going to be no Clark and no Ball, it looks like, who've been the sort of ones in the centre who kind of, sort of dribble it forward and kind of break into midfield a lot. So you'd have, we think Wilson Brown should be all right, but if you have, so maybe you're going to end up with Mabete right and Wilson Brown, and maybe Wright would be the one who would come forward. But I would say there's a non-0% chance of Smith playing at centre back as well. If you think about it, I wouldn't rule it out altogether, given we do have riches in the forward department or plenty of options.
I'm just trying to work that out. A non-zero. You kind of got me with that. It's a
bit of a chance, maybe. I'd say more likely not than will, but I wouldn't rule that out.
We all remember Wimbledon last season, don't we? We all went, where's he going? Oh, he's going back there. We still have got Tom Broadbent turning left at the Kassam, have we? Rather than turning right that day. That was an extraordinary experience too. Only downside on Saturday was the security bloke in the Oldham bar. Never come across someone so arrogant. Took my flag off me and put it behind the bar. When asked for it to leave in a blatant way, made me wait. Despite telling them I wasn't feeling too great after my health issue, says Sean. Shocking. And to add, I was stood with town fans in shirts. And what's good, we are winning and not yet at our best, I feel. A good sign. I think that's fair enough, isn't it, Rob? Because, as we mentioned to Carla, they're finding their feet in League Two. If you look through the Swindon team on Saturday, Wilson Brown's new, Snowden's new, Monroe is new, Oldacre's new, Echibachaman is new. There's a lot of new players in that squad, and yet they still dug out a result.
Yeah, I think it's the defence you've got to look at in terms of the inexperience, isn't it? Because there's two wing backs there. Ian Holloway's been quite strident in saying that that's not Joe Snowden's best position, but he's having to play there at the moment because we've not got a completely fit back line. Monroe, as we mentioned on several occasions on Saturday, that was undoubtedly his best performance in a town shirt so far, and his spring from a standing leap is impressive. I have to say, I thought for somebody who's not particularly tall, he wins an awful lot of headers. So he's impressed me a lot. Wilson Brown, I think the jury's still out on. Not to put too fine a point on it, he's in a very difficult position, stuck there at centre back. Inexperience will be found out there by some of the big proven strikers in this division. Again, one he's going to come up against tomorrow night is not going to do him any favours, but he's not been scared of a battle and he's not been scared to put his head in. If we relay him back as a comparison to Miguel Freckleton, who was there last year for the first part of the season when he came in from a pretty much a non first team start, he struggled to head the ball for the first 3 months he was with us, and that caused a lot of problems. That's a problem Wilson Brown doesn't have. He certainly will head the ball. Sometimes his positioning needs sorting out. And I think that's the biggest issue with missing Clark at the moment. People need to be organised and he's the one who organises them. And I think Will Wright, as fantastic a player with the ball as he can be, doesn't talk enough to try and organise those players around him, and he needs Clark in there to do it for him. So we do have issues at the back in terms of inexperience. There's no doubt about that. But going forward, even though you're integrating new players in there, it's obviously a different dynamic to last year, but it's still the same as well. When you think you've got the Nicholses, you've got the Drinans, you've got the Smiths. So you've still got a nucleus of players who were used to playing with each other. And it's how you then integrate the new players with them. And that 25, 30 minutes at the start of last Saturday's game was as impressive as a forward opening spell as we've had. And to be fair, 2-0 flat at Oldham, didn't it, in that opening half?
It could have been 4 or 5. I mean, we were saying, you know, that, Andrew, that's the time when you really got to press home your advantage, hadn't you? And, you know, you think when we were only 1-0 up, you think, come on, get a second. And then you're 2-0 up and you think, right, come on, get a third. But somehow that didn't quite last for the 90 minutes. But I think, was it Wilson Brown? He was ill, wasn't it, at half-time, Ian Holloway was saying?
Apparently so, which makes the first sort of half hour, 45 minutes all the more credible. But he was in the sort of news conference today. He kind of texted Holloway says he thinks he's fine. So hopefully we don't know definitely, but he's got through training today and should be available because you know the other left-footed centre half option is the one who's very much not in favour. Although we wouldn't completely rule out seeing Ryan Delaney in the matchday squad, but you know that place is clearly meant to be Wilson Brown's for the season.
Joe Snowden. I mean, I know his dad. I think it was who was in the crowd. That's who he went across to celebrate with. I mean, there's no finer place to get you the first league goal than there, is it? When you in your hometown, that's fantastic.
Yeah, no, that was rather lovely, and it only took him 4 minutes, and he set up the next one. But he's been an absolute sort of definite bonus. He's very low key about it. Afterwards, he said, I think I asked him, you know, you're expecting your phone to go off when you switch it back on. He goes, I've not got many mates really. So I almost wanted to like pat him on the back. That's not that bad, but no, he definitely is more a midfielder by trade, but he's come in and kind of done that job really well. And you know, 1 goal and 2 assists now already. You know, sometimes he's a lot more vulnerable defensively, but that's inevitable. But he's certainly, you know, in terms of the kind of attacking output and what he brings, he's done really well. And I think I actually remember. I think he got like to play in the number 10 role for about 2 minutes before they and Drinham was at right back for a little bit before they made more subs. So I would think at some point, as long as Joel McGregor gets fit and gets a good run of games, then given what he's done, he might get a chance to actually play in his preferred position. But I think he's done really well, given it's his first experience of league football.
A bit of an odd one on Saturday. Joel McGregor getting booked whilst not on the pitch, Rob. I mean, I don't know how often that happens, but it's a bit of a rarity.
No one can complain at the yellow card either, can they? Because
no.
we all saw you kick the ball away and stop the attack. So it was well spotted by the referee, to be fair, to have seen that it was one of our substitutes that did it. And of course, that then put him in the danger zone effectively as soon as he came on the pitch, didn't it? Because you've picked up an unnecessary yellow, and now you've got to come on the pitch and play for 20 minutes when you're under the cosh. But I was much more pleased with his 20 minutes, I have to say, than I was with his first half display at Cardiff. He grew into the game at Cardiff, but you could see he was seriously undercooked in that first period. And there's no doubt about it. He was coming up against some seriously good players on that Cardiff left-hand side of the pitch. And he did struggle a bit, but he seemed to redeem himself in the second half against Cardiff and played a much more accustomed role from what we can expect to see of him. And that 20 minutes when we really did need to hold on to the ball as much as we could, we probably didn't do that well enough, but he was very, very good with his defensive display in that final period. So he got away with that booking in the end.
Yeah, I mean, it was hot enough sitting in the stands on Tuesday night at Cardiff, let alone playing football for 90 plus minutes when you've been out injured. This is Mark. Evening, chaps. First game for me tomorrow, as I've been away for a while. Can I ask who stood out for you this season so far, Andrew? It's a difficult one because, you know, we're only 4 games in, aren't we? 3 league matches and a cup game. Monroe, I think, by general, I know Jonathan Smith was very impressed with him, wasn't he, on Saturday? but by general consent, certainly on the bus, I think Munro has kind of looked good. So there are promising signs, but who's stood out? It's difficult to say after 4 matches, but
yeah, no, I think I might be a bit sweeter on Wilson Brown than Rob is, and obviously Batchman's made a really good start with his goal at Cardiff, and giving Oldham a lot to think about. But I know Wilson Brown's he's not the kind of sort of broadest, but he is quite tall. He does win a good share of headers. He's quite quick. So I think for his kind of first, and he's got those sort of useful ability to hit diagonal balls forward. So for a first loan spell where he's played, because his one in Scotland he didn't play because of injury, I feel like there's quite a lot of room for growth there. So you take him and you take Munro as well, who for Premier League defender, he rather seems to like the tackling stuff, which is a bit old fashioned and quaint. He does like to get stuck in. I don't know whether playing in Spain last year helped him or not, but yeah. So Wilson Brown and Munro I like, and Bowden's a bit of a slow burner, but I thought you saw quite a lot of clever stuff in his when he came on. So hopefully, if he's sort of getting up to speed, then we'll see a player who's got a bit more nous than perhaps some average League Two centre forwards.
Well, I've got a question about Paul Bowden, so you kind of preempted that, but we'll talk about not Paul Bowden, Billy Bowden. Goodness me, we'll get back to that. I mean, that's how old I am.
Oh, well, I'll do that. I'll do that several times this season.
Yeah. Actually, how was it with Paul Bowden commentating on Billy Bowden? That's a rarity, isn't it?
No, bless Paul. He's pretty balanced about it. I think it really helped that he's coached him before, so I think he's perhaps kind of used to looking at him as a player rather than just his son as well. But I look forward to when he scores and Paul's behind the mic and just see how he reacts. We might have to set up one of those cameras on him in that case.
Do you remember the Waitman commentary when the son won the athletics race and Jeff Whiteman was the commentator, and it was a fantastic moment? It might be one of those, so that would be great. Who's impressed you so far, Rob?
Well, I think Andrew's covered most bases in terms of the new players we've got. I think we've got to also throw into the mix Aaron Drinan being back, because he was outstanding in that home turnaround against Cambridge, no doubt at all about that. And I've heard many people comment on the fact that had he stayed fit towards the back end of last season, things could have turned out very, very differently. And I think you've seen a fully refreshed Aaron Drinan in those opening 3 or 4 matches, which is great to see. And he's added that little bit of versatility to his game as well, hasn't he? He seems to be able to move into a sort of wing-back type position if they really need him to. So all credit to him. I think he's done very, very well. It was great to see Tom Nichols off the mark early, because obviously he didn't get off the mark till quite a long time into his loan spell first time around. So to get a goal early season, that will boost his confidence. And it's very pleasing as well. It's not necessarily to name individuals, but what have we scored? 8 goals so far this season? 7, 8 goals so far this season? All
different scorers.
All different goal scorers. So nobody's scored more than 1 yet, but plenty of people are off the mark. So you need to chip in from every area of the pitch, and that's where that's a really pleasing stat to start the season with.
I think we were talking about the Ardiles team on the way back, weren't we? And I think there were 20 goals from midfield that season, which is an extraordinary contribution to it takes a bit of the pressure off the strikers as well if you're getting goals from all angles, doesn't it? Let's have a look. Ian says, when are we going to have an injury-free run, Andrew? I mean, injuries at this time of the season is not an unusual thing, but how many have we got at the minute? 3 or 4?
Yeah, so we've there's Ball, there's Clark, there's Ripley, and there's one other one that I'm having a bit of and Kilkenny with his hip as well. But I think the thing is they seem to have largely come about through. I'm not quite sure about the circumstances of Kilkenny, but I think Clark and Ball are certainly just injuries sustained in a game. So it's not. I think you'd probably be a bit more worried if there were too many kind of muscle strains and that. No, Ripley has a bit of a thigh injury, so it feels like a little bit more bad luck than anything more fundamental than that. Yeah,
it's been a lot of football in a short space of time as well, hasn't it? And they're straight in from pre-season into games, and they had 4 pre-season friendlies. Tabor. Do we know why he wasn't included? Just not included in the squad? Was he injured?
No, he was fine. He was the 19th man, as it were.
Oh, okay. Oldacre and Prince, great, says Dewey. Right, to Barnet then. I always remember Royce Brownlee scoring an absolute belter to beat them 1-0 when Dennis Wise was manager, if I'm right in saying. Absolute cracker. But as we heard, the last time they visited, Rob, a 4-1 defeat for Swindon. I mean, they've got no points at the minute, but beware the banana skin, I think it's fair to say.
Yeah, I mean, I still don't read anything into the fact that a team can play 3 games, have no points, and then be a permanently poor side for the rest of the season. I don't think they'll be that at all. I think Barnet will actually survive quite comfortably, actually. I think they're a good footballing team. And I think Carla alluded to what might be their problem, and we've seen it enough times with the teams that we've put out over the years, that you have to be physical in this division. If you're not physical, you will get found out. And perhaps in these opening few games, that's something that has been the Achilles heel for them. And it might benefit them, to be fair, that Swindon aren't necessarily particularly dominant physically, albeit that there's individuals that we well know who quite happily will use their body, but not always the most physical side. So that might benefit them tomorrow night. But I'm looking forward to a good game of football based on what was said earlier. It'd be nice to see a team come here and not put 10 players behind the ball and try and actually try and play some proper football again. Cambridge tried to do that in the opening exchanges, took advantage of us and had a real go with the wind in the second half. And it'd be nice to see Barnet try and do the same, and hopefully we'll have the opportunity to then create some chances as well and get a few goals. I think it will be a decent game tomorrow night.
Let's hope so. I mean, Andrew, you could have been interviewing their manager every week instead of Mark Kennedy and then Ian Holloway, couldn't you? How close was he to getting the Swindon job? Do you know?
I think there were certainly discussions last summer, but it's never been entirely clear as to whether that was to take over or more to be an assistant to Gavin Gunning at the time in All Irish pair. But he's quite good interview value as well. He's not entirely afraid of calling out the supporters when he thinks they can give more. So I will leave that theme hovering there and say no.
Yes. An interesting weekend, I think it's fair to say. Yes. What about the pitch, though? You see, the pitch, we mentioned this to Annie and Richard earlier. I mean, it's such a magnificent thing that you'd want to play football on it, Andrew, wouldn't you? I mean, I'm desperate to get on there and kick the ball about when I'm down by the side of it. It looks even better down there.
Yeah, no, it's great. So touch wood, the extra money they talked about spending in the off season is gonna work and help it last with that little bit of extra workload with all the women's games there as well. But it does look. I think it does really sort of encourage and invite you to play. The Oldham pitch looked pretty good as well, but I'm not sure Oldham was so convinced that they wanted to keep the ball on the ground that much.
Yeah, interesting. Lev Tabor and his wearing of different coloured boots of yellow one foot and black on the other, says Dewey. Interesting choice of colours. I wonder why that is. Is there any reason for that, do we think? Is it possible injuries playing on hard pitches due to this hot weather and lack of water? Now, I think I'm right in saying that professional sports grounds have dispensation when watering pitches. Am I right in saying that?
You are.
Yeah. I thought so. I
was going to say, I think it's one of those situations that at the start of every season, you play in temperatures that you're not necessarily expecting to play in. But this has been a very, very strange start to the season, hasn't it? I mean, if you think back to, it's only 2 seasons ago that we didn't play at Colchester because it was absolutely chucking it down on the first day. But these first 4 games, I mean, Cardiff, we couldn't sit in the stand when we got there. It was so hot. So Lord knows what it was like to play in. And then you have to go on a 200-mile trip up north the following Saturday and a 7-hour traffic jam, from what I understand, to get the players to the ground on the Friday night. So there's been a lot of things that they've had to deal with, not necessarily what you'd expect to have to deal with at this stage of the season. So all those things added together, people sort of tend to forget about. But it's never an easy start, especially when you're trying to cram in fixtures at the start of a season. You're trying to get people up to a decent fitness level. We haven't even mentioned the transfer window, and heaven forbid why on earth that still goes on during August rather than ends at the start of the season, because that would make things so much easier for everybody. But yeah, there's a lot of factors, and all of those things generally mean you don't properly settle down as a football team, I don't think, until September, when you know what team you've got, you know the pattern of play that you're playing, the weather hopefully cools down just a little bit, and things become a bit more sensible.
Yeah. Talking about the transfer window, Andrew, Ian Holloway sort of sat on the fence regarding Harry Smith, didn't he, on Saturday? I mean,
you might as well put one of those sandwich boards on him going "not for sale" when he comes out to the mark. At this point, I think that's been made pretty clear.
Yeah. How important is Harry Smith, do you think?
Well, I think he's it is what he brings in, I guess, in both boxes now increasingly, and sometimes League Two can feel a little bit like the midfield is a bit of an added luxury. But what really counts is happens when you put the ball in the opponent's box and vice versa. And he's sort of incredibly valuable in that. And I think there's a bit of sort of symbolism about him for Ian Holloway as well, in that he didn't. I'll be honest, he didn't have a particularly good reputation when he arrived, as in not necessarily in terms of playing ability, but in being quite a difficult character to handle, who could be quite moody. And they really seem to have done a lot of work in kind of getting him to represent all those values of no blame and that he talks about. So I think there's a kind of emotional attachment between the two as well. But yeah, he's very difficult to kind of replace, I think, just in terms of that, because academies don't really produce strikers like that. If you think where he's from, he's sort of started off at Folkestone. If you think of the other sort of really big units, like I think Andy Cook started off in non-league as well, the giant Bradford striker. So that there aren't that many of that sort around as well, even if you get a good money. So he's kind of important. He's definitely important on the pitch, and spiritual is not quite the right word, if you know what I mean. But I think off the pitch as well, he is a figure. He is a good influence now.
I think also, Rob, he's what I call a muck and bullets player, and I don't mean to be disparaging about that. You know what I mean by that. He kind of likes the physical confrontation, doesn't he? And he can play. There's no question about that. But you know what I mean by that, a muck and bullets player. Fraser Blake Tracy was like that before he got injured, wasn't he? He was sort of one of those players that fans love to see.
Totally, and I think he's proved that he's got his own little area of versatility now as well. Which obviously, when you're looking at is it really important to keep a player? He's our best forward at heading the ball in the penalty area, and he's our best defender as well. Forget his footballing ability. When you need him, he has turned up and he's been there for us over the past season. And I imagine it would have been a very difficult place trying to encourage him once the Mark Kennedy era came to an end, because things weren't going well off the pitch. I imagine at that point, he was probably thinking, not sure I want a part of this. But Ian Holloway has bought into him, as Andrew said a few minutes ago, and he's made him feel like he's $1 million, I bet, with some of the words that come out of some of his interviews. He must feel like he's the most wanted striker at this club that's been there for such a long time. So I think you ask any player, they want to be loved, don't they? They might want the money wherever they go, but they want to be loved by a club. And I don't think you could actually give a little bit more, any more love at the moment towards Harry Smith. So long may it continue, and long may he continue to perform the way he has for us. He could do with poking a few more goals in. His back end of last season, he didn't score too many, and he's only got the one so far this year, having missed that chance on Saturday. So perhaps tomorrow he might make people have a little look at him again because of his goal scoring exploits.
Where are we at the transfer window, Andrew? Is that the 1st of September it shuts?
Yes, yeah, and I think thankfully it shuts. It's something like 7 or 8. I don't think it drags all the way through till midnight.
Don't get the deal sheets, Andrew.
Oh yeah, there's always the deal sheet.
I mean, from what I think Holloway said today, there's no more money. Is that right? So that would indicate that he has to get rid before he brings in, if he wants.
Well, yeah, that which was the logical follow-up question. Then he kind of backtracked a little bit, but yeah, it doesn't sound like there's particularly a kind of huge amount to spend unless someone goes on the way out. We know they would be happy to let Ryan Delaney go, and that might get them a little bit of money and free up a wage as well. Clearly Smith is not going, judging by the fact they've appeared to have turned down this for if the figures are as reported, I have no reason to doubt that they are, a very sort of credible offer from Denmark for him. So they appear determined, all parties at the club, to hold on to him almost all costs. So if it would probably, I think, require someone else to go to maybe bring someone in, but I didn't think he'd be upset if suddenly another centre half magically appeared who was about 6'4" and could head it and had a little bit of pace as well. But so that would be nice. But it appears things are kind of perhaps sort of slowing down in terms of incomings, and we'll have to see on the outgoings if anyone suddenly decides they fancy a nibble at some of the squad.
Yeah, because Minson's gone off to Chippenham for a month, hasn't he? So although I guess there's a recall if they were desperate to get a player in for an emergency centre half, I guess they must have that. But Jake Tabor, we haven't seen a lot of Rob, have we? I think everybody is desperate for him to get that goal when he does play, aren't they? They want to see. Well, they want to see a fairy tale story like Charlie Austin, don't they? They want to see this young player come up for the non-league and set the league alight.
Ian Holloway's no mug, Vic. He knows
No.
his fitness levels and he knows his abilities. And I'm in no way being disparaging to Tabor at all, because I think he may well turn into a really, really good signing for Swindon. But you can't run before you can walk. And he's come up about 3 levels, hasn't he, in terms of where he was to get to the Football League. He looks physically too slight at the moment for me. And that makes him really just a bench player rather than a starter. I think he'll get there. I think with a good amount of physical output in his training, he will get there. I've got no doubt about that. But I think the first maybe couple of months of this season, it will be a finding out and a learning experience for him. And I think we've got to give him the time and the space to do that and not put too much pressure on his shoulders. I think you can look at Botan Amin at the moment as well, and he's not getting much game time, is he? I mean, we were talking very much at the start of the season that this could be breakout year for him. People have said the same thing for Butterworth. He's not had many minutes either. So there are players there as well as Tabor, all of whom potentially have an awful lot to prove and haven't had too many minutes to do that yet. So, and Billy Bowden, as we've said already, isn't yet up to full match fitness. So we do have a bit of an embarrassment of riches at the top end of the pitch at the moment. But the one thing we don't have is a direct replacement for Harry Smith. Yeah. So should the decision ever be made that it's time to move him on for a fee, then we will have to spend to buy someone of the same ilk. Otherwise, Ian Holloway has to change the way we play.
Right. This is from Mark. Harry Smith's been far better under Holloway than under Kennedy. I think many of us were very unsure as to whether he was a good signing when playing under Kennedy. Hats off to Ollie for getting the best out of him. He also does some great work defensively, which helps when having to defend set pieces. And James says, hi, James, can you ask Andrew why Ollie doesn't want Delaney? Is there any reason for that, or he just doesn't fit into the way he plays?
I don't think it's any sort of fallout in terms of Delaney's attitude or professionalism. I think it's just well, you look at the sort of left-sided centre half you've got in Wilson Brown, and he has more pace than Delaney has. So I think some of it is just kind of about the way he wants to play, and Delaney doesn't quite fit that. So like I say, I didn't think there's any sort of grand issue between the two or drama. It's just breaking news manager doesn't fancy player as terminology goes.
Yeah, fair enough. Gentlemen, thank you very much indeed for sort of dropping in on a late notice. We had to rejig the show a little bit, but thank you very much indeed, and very useful as always. Tomorrow, of course, we're at home to Barnet, and then another side that's come down last season in Shrewsbury. So we've played relegation, promotion, relegation. It goes on like that a bit, doesn't it? So thank you very much indeed for coming along. Chris, there we are. We managed to get it done.
Thank you very much. Yeah, we do apologise. Chris Heyman wasn't available this evening, unfortunately. He had something else. So we had to, as Vic said, we had to rejig it a bit. So just a couple of reminders: Junior Reds, collect your Junior Reds packs from the Junior Reds room from 6 to 6:30 tomorrow, or from 1 to 1:30 on Saturday. It's
Can I mention why it's to, go on.
Sorry. It's the John Trollope unveiling of his statue on Saturday at 1:30 over at Foundation Park as well. And the fixture lists and fixture cards are still available in the Legends Lounge if you'd like to pick them up tomorrow. They'll be there tomorrow and Saturday as long as the stocks last. So if you want one, please come along and get one. So thank you, Rob. Thank you, Andrew. As Vic said, thank you for coming in at late notice. We thank Carla from Barnet. I hope you like the new addition to our evenings. We're trying to get somebody from the opposition team in when we can, just to have a bit of a different angle on it. So we will see what we can do going through the season. So we will be back next week with a review of Shrewsbury. But until then, have a good week. Hope for 3 points tomorrow, and see you all soon.
Can I just ask? I just wanted to say that, please, if you are in the area of Foundation Park on Saturday at 1:30, then come along and pay tribute to arguably the greatest servant that Swindon Town ever had, John Trollope, the unveiling of his statue. It'd be lovely to see lots of people there. So there you are, 1:30 Foundation Park. Yeah,
absolutely. Okay, so thanks very much, and we will see you next week. Bye-bye.